Now, a grand jury is considering criminal charges against officers who responded to the Uvalde school shooting. 19 children and 2 teachers died as police waited more than an hour to confront the shooter at Robb Elementary.
And that jury just heard testimony from the head of the Texas Department of Public Safety. And we have joining us now to provide some perspective on what's going on, Tony Plohetsky, who is a senior reporter with our sister station in Austin. Tony, thank you for joining us this morning. Let's talk about Steve McCraw testifying. How significant is that?
Is quite significant, and it's significant for a couple of reasons. Number one, this signifies that this grand jury made up of 12 members wants to hear directly from officials tied to the law enforcement response. They're going beyond the rank and file who were in the hallway of Robb Elementary and now wanting to hear from agency heads. And so it is significant for that reason. It is also significant because in Texas, we see grand juries perform in a number of ways. Sometimes they look simply at evidence officials have collected as part of an investigation. But in this instance, the fact that they are subpoenaing and bringing in people and officials who are tied to the response also shows the level of seriousness and the fact that they want to hear directly from those officials and responding officers so that they can ask their own questions to them and seek their own answers.
Now, McCraw has previously blamed the bungled police response on local officers, and that includes former Uvalde Independent School District Police Chief Pete Arredondo. He even testified before the Senate that it was not feasible for his troopers to assume command. So surely the grand jury will bring up this narrative.
The reality is his own agency has been under intense scrutiny really since the day this happened. Keep in mind that DPS was one of the agencies that pushed a false narrative of police heroism. So one of the things that the grand jury, for example, may want to examine with him is why his own officials were casting that narrative in the early hours and days after the shooting. But they may also want to try to determine, for example, why DPS did not step in and take over the response as it was unfolding. And that is a question that has lingered since that terrible day in May 2022.
There are so many questions about these proceedings that we all have, although we know that they do take place behind closed doors, grand jury proceedings. How long, though, do we think this process will take?
I've been assured that this is not going to be a fast process. It is something that could take weeks, possibly even months, before the grand jury makes any sort of decision. Keep in mind, here in Texas, it takes 9 members of a grand jury to issue an indictment.
Tony, we appreciate you waking up with us early. We know you've been following this so closely, and your insight is appreciated. Thank you again from Austin.
Thank you so much.
6:10 on the